Welcome to Tell Us Your Story with Dr. Ebony. I am Dr. Ebony. Today's topic is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. My guest, my guest today is Lanny Spires Ingalls. How
Hi,
are you
guys.
doing, Lanny?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Before we get into our conversation, as you all know, if you've watched prior episodes of mine, I give you little tidbits about some of my guests. And this one today is extra special to me. We have been friends since elementary school.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
needless to say, we have a lot of dirt on each other. So,
Yes, we do.
we can tell some tales.
Good dirt, bad dirt, funny dirt. Most of it ends up being funny, though, with us.
True. Very true. Very true. And on top of everything else, not only is he a friend, I also consider him to be a family member. In fact, my girls call him Uncle Lanny.
Yep.
And on top of everything else, he is also a very, very talented person. He can sing, he can dance, he can act. He is multi-talented and absolutely love him to death. So once again, the feeling's always mutual. Let's begin, Lanny.
All right, let's do it. What you got for me?
Oh, I got some good stuff here. So, how would you classify yourself as far as gender identity and your ethnicity?
Well, gender identity, is that like he?
Okay, yeah. So it would be cisgendered male.
And see, and this is all like, okay, so I'm from the generation, guys, that was right before kind of all of that started. So I'm slowly coming to grips with understanding what it all is. Needless to say, I'm trying, but I don't get it right all the time either. But I am trying, and I am open to hearing and listening and being a part of life as a general rule. So as far as my race goes, my birth certificate says white, but I have Native American, African. So I think I'm just a mutt, to be honest. Like, I really don't identify as anything other than Lanny. I don't particularly like the fact that there is a race place on our birth certificates, and or when they ask us, what we are. I don't like that. I think that should completely be removed from everything, because I don't think it matters whether we're male, female, black, white, Hispanic, yellow, red, blue, green, purple. I don't care. I think that should go away, just because you're putting somebody in a bubble when you're looking at their identity, and that's not fair in my book.
Right. So I know you gave this great intro, and now we've got to get back to the root of things.
Let's do it.
Where did you grow up, and what was your family structure?
Well, I grew up in West Columbia, Lexington, South Carolina. We moved from West Columbia when I was a kid to Lexington, which is when I met you. My family structure, mom, dad. I have a twin sister, Lynette, and I have an older sister, Patty. My mom and dad are named Bernice and Lanny. There were good times. There were bad times. There were good times again. So, it was rough. There was a rough go when I was a teenager, trying to figure out who I was as an individual and as a person, figuring it out. Then figuring out that I had to keep it a secret.
Oh, well, we're gonna get into that a little bit later. Just a little.
Yeah, was devastating to me. And then telling on myself, you know what I mean? I felt like I was a bad human being for a long time, and I beat myself up over it. And I lived very timid for a long time. I lost a spark. I lost a lot of joy. I lost a lot of time because of my own insecurities and not knowing that everybody in the world wasn't like the the people that my family were trying to surround me with, and the people that were trying to change me, and the people that were trying to make me someone else. I've realized so much more now than I knew then. But the thing about it is, things happened at a time that was shaping me as an individual, and now at 40, I'm having to reshape my individuality and hold it tight, and understand that I'm okay, and understand that I'm perfect the way that I am. So
right. And
nobody's perfect, but I'm perfect the way that I am.
For you, for Lanny, you are
listening.
You are Lanny perfect. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to your family, and I know you said it was a struggle of people trying to fit you in a box. So what is your family's religious affiliation?
Well, I was raised in the Pentecostal Holiness Church, which I love. I personally love the music and the camaraderie that I had with the people in the church to a point. And then it got to the fire and brimstone, and you're going to hell, and you're going to die, and you need salvation. And I was under the assumption that I already had it. And that face. And now I know I already have it. So, but then again, I lived for so long because of the way that their teachings were, terrified to live any sort of way, and terrified that because I love who I love, I was going to rot in hell. That's you're going to hell, you're going to die, and you're going to go to hell, and that's just the way it is. I feel sorry for you. Your soul is, you need to change your ways. You need to, and I'm like, and so I lived terrified for a very long time of the fear that God didn't love me, and that I was an outcast in his eyes, and that I didn't know him as my personal Lord and Savior. And I did, but people on earth were telling me otherwise.
Right. So, all right, that is your spiritual journey. So what about your academic journey? As far as starting in like middle school and high school, kind of take us on that journey, because all of this kind of, comes together and explains Lanny a lot more.
Gosh. So in school was rough. It was. School was rough. Again, it was the way people were taught. You know what I mean? I think things have changed a whole lot now, but I was terrified of school. I was terrified of people. I was terrified of guys. I didn't fit in with the guy structure of things. So I had a lot of girlfriends who went to battle for me a lot of times. You were one of them. But when I was alone, and I was terrified to walk down the hallway. I was terrified to go to the bathroom. I was terrified that I was going to say something wrong. I was terrified that my shirt was too tight and that my jeans, weren't the right kind. I was, guys were really mean to me. And it was scary then. Now I'm not so scared of those people. I'm not afraid to say what the heck I feel. True. But luckily in the 9th grade, I was able to go away to a boarding school for ballet. I was a ballet dancer. I was terrified for people to know that I was a ballet dancer until I wasn't. And in the 9th grade, when I got into that school that I got into, it was called Walnut Hill. It was in Natick, Massachusetts. I got a full scholarship to go and dance. Then I wasn't afraid. So I started bringing my girl partners to school to do the talent show and to show these guys that I was just as strong as they were. And I would bring, she wasn't a big girl, but she was my size. And I would bring the girl that wasn't so teeny, that didn't look like I was lifting a peanut over my head. I would lift the girl that had some, structure. Yes. And when I lifted, I won't say her name, but when I lifted one of my partners over my head in school, respect started coming from these guys. They were really like, okay, you know, we didn't quite understand the white tights yet, but they were like, you just lifted that girl up over your head and held her there. And I remember looking at a football player, and I won't say his name, but I looked at this guy and I was all like, you do it. And so he's standing out there trying to lift this girl over his head. My partner's like, no. I was like, just let him try. I just want to see him do it. And he couldn't do it. He could not do it. And I was like, boom. So I started, that was when the brave journey started. I was going to be brave, and I was going to be honest with people about what I loved. And then that's when the things really good started happening. So I went to Boston, and boarding school was fantastic. Within a year, I was in New York, and that's when things kind of got rocky. You know what I mean? With my family. I was living with, I'll say her name. I was living with one of my other best friends, Emily Green, and her mother, Heidi. They took me, and my mom and dad were still not able to let me kind of come home. I wouldn't say they kicked me out, but I would say that in order for me to come home, I would have to conform and be straight. And have to live that kind of lifestyle. And I was already way out of the closet at that point. So I was like, nope, not doing that. So I moved to New York, and was trying to finish high school. But I ended up having to drop out my senior year. So I did finish, but it was 10 years later that I finished. I finished high school in 2010. And, but I went on the road. I was touring with, you know, different touring companies, doing a lot of summer stock theater, did a theme park. I actually did it. That was my first gig, was Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. Got fired from that job, but I was young and stupid, and I almost made it the whole summer, though. I will say that. In my defense, I almost made it the whole summer.
That's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother episode. That would be a fun one to talk about. But I mean, it didn't stop me in my career path, though. That's the thing. It wasn't something, you know, that I didn't really feel bad about it. I just had to say my piece and what I thought was wrong with being a workhorse. Sometimes, you know, different organizations and different people that you work for are not unionized. And at that point in time, you know, theme parks are still not unionized, so they can do with your time what they want to, and you can either take it or be fired. And so I chose the latter. 5 shows a day is tough, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Outside heat, like we were in outdoor theaters, and there was no AC. It was tough. But so education, back, I guess, I mean, I'm all over the map with this education thing.
I know.
Just because education for me was all over the map. I was a good student, though. You know what I mean? My grades were fairly good until they weren't. They were worse. They were worse in middle school, but I think that was because of the stress, you know, of being afraid of people. But I think that comes from the home. You know what I mean? It all goes back to where you come from and what you've put up with from your family. And if you're scared of your parents, then you're scared of everybody.
Wow.
I love my parents, by the way, but it took a long time to get there.
Right. And that's an interesting point, you know, to say that your home environment can in fact really impact your life as far as your academic life and going to school, especially as a young person. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but the environment that the support or lack of support you receive from home, you know, you take that with you.
Yep.
And that's very profound. So you mentioned, of course, you were saying about the dance and all. I mentioned earlier in the intro that you are a triple threat. So what was your first arts experience? Like, were you a singer first, dancer first, or were you an actor first? Or excuse me, I need to say it the Southern way. Were you a singer?
Were you a singer? I was a singer. I sang in church growing up. So I guess I was a singer first, but then acting actually came from the church too. There was there's a youth program called Teen Talent within the Pentecostal Holiness Church, and you go and do. You sing. I sing a lot of gospel music. I still sing a lot of gospel music. It is something that's really dear to my heart and really near to my heart, and it is one of the ways that I'm able to pray. You know, sometimes me saying a prayer is really difficult because sometimes I think. I don't know. I fumble with my words sometimes, as we all do when it comes to, you know, saying, talking to the Lord. And it's not that I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's like I'll hear a song and I'm like, that's what I want to say. You know what I mean? That's what my prayer is. And most of my prayers aren't for me. They're for someone else. Now, I can pray for you, but when it comes to me, you know, I'm on the struggle bus with that one. But Lord, I don't want to pray for a Lamborghini, but I want one. I really am playing on that.
No, he really wants that Lamborghini, but
you know, I think singing was first, acting was second, and then dance. I always danced, and I you know, like I was always that kid that would do cartwheels down the aisle at the grocery store, and my mom would be like, "Stop it!" Like, "Please sit down." And I'm one of those adults as well. You know what I mean? My husband, on the other hand, is like, "Oh my gosh, why are you the star of Walmart?" I know everybody at every Walmart. There's never a fail. You know, like, but I'll be talking to a total stranger, and he's like, "Oh my God, how do you know them?" And I'm all like, "I don't. I didn't know that was. I liked her
shirt." And that's how you've always been. I mean, it's just kind of so kind of going back to. All right, you mentioned when you kind of had this self-discovery, and around what age did you realize that you were attracted to the same gender?
Oh, very early on. Very early on. I mean, it was very early on. I'm like, I would say 5, 6 years old. Gotcha. But I wouldn't think that as a 5 or 6 year old, you know what I mean? This is my adult brain thinking for my 5-year-old self.
Of course.
You know what I mean? At 5 years old, I don't think that you're really capable of fully understanding what you understand now, obviously. But at 5 years old, I knew that I wanted to hold hands with a guy. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I liked him and I didn't want her to touch me.
Gotcha.
I don't know. You know what I mean? That's just, It's something I really haven't thought about in a long time. So, but I also know that when I think about being a child, like really young, like my memories are very vivid of being a kid, because my best memories of everything were when I was, 5 to 11. Now there's some really sticky points that happened to me from 5 to 11 that we don't need to go into right now. That's a whole nother episode.
Right.
But we can at some point if you'd like. But I think, it was very early on.
Okay.
Very early on.
All right. Because I know we talk about everything under the sun over the years. Mm-hmm. And I remember this.
I should write a book.
We should.
We should do a dual book. The Trials and Tribulations of Ebony and Lanny.
That's it. I like it. You see, you already have
we'll call it E14. Trials and Tribulations, and a big explosion on the front of the cover.
Oh, I like it. It's good. I'm down. Sign me up for that. We had talked about everything under the sun, and I think I told you, I was like, same question, just different atmosphere, and I was like, I think everybody around you knew that you were gay before.
Everybody knew before I did. Really. I was like, no, I'm not. Don't talk about me like I'm not in this room. Shut up. I mean, I was one of those. I was like, God, why does everybody say that? I already knew, but I didn't want people to know.
Right. Okay. So I just always wondered that. I'm like, come on now. We all knew. So why didn't you know?
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, it still all goes back to like your dad finding out. My dad was one of those dads who it's very fire and brimstone, you know, black or white. You know, there's no in between. There's no, you know, he's softened a bit as he's gotten older, but I also think that that happened because, you know, he's thought about his life a little bit more and thought about the way that he's treated certain aspects of who I am. You know what I mean? Like there's still things that I do not like. Like he does not accept my husband. He's never been to my home. He refuses to set foot in here.
Right.
My mom has been here one time, and the whole time she was here, she was terrified because he was calling her, and she lied to him about being here. You know what I mean? So it's just a whole, it's still that way. So I carry him with kid gloves.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that all stems from everybody else knew. I didn't want people to know because people talk and people tell stories. And if it came out of my mouth, then he would have been the first to know. And I knew that, you know, the threat of being kicked out, the threat of being left behind, the threat of being punished, the threat of losing the things that I loved dearly, like going to the theater, going to dance class, like doing things that I love would go away. Because for some reason I knew that he would connect all of that back to being an actor, being a singer, being a dancer. It would all be connected back to that rather than he had me on that football field so fast and I would have been getting my butt kicked.
Right.
Because I was little. You know what I mean? I played football like termite football. You know what I mean? We were called termites. We played termite football. And because we were little, you know, we were little cockroaches.
Well, I'm glad you kind of brought that up in regards.
I love playing sports, by the way. I did, but football was one of those. My face was way too important to me.
Right. Because I just wanted to know, you know, your thoughts on people that say, hey, you participated in the arts, so that automatically makes you homosexual. So what do you say to people that believe that?
It is complete BS. I know more straight men in this field than I do gay men. So
yeah. Put
a sucker in your mouth and suck on that. I don't know. You know, like, I have no clue.
Right.
So, but I do. I know more straight men in this field. Now, I mean, there are a lot of gay men. There are a lot of gay women. There are a lot of straight men, a lot of straight women. There are a lot of asexual people in this business too. Just don't want anything to do with anyone sexually, but have a humongous group of friends. You know what I mean? So
Okay. All right. So for your personal reference, how would you refer to yourself? Would you refer to yourself as a gay man or homosexual, or because, you know, everybody has a different phrase, a different label, or just, I love who I love?
I love who I love is my best. Like, I don't like labels. And I feel a lot of people in the gay community get upset with me because of the way that I feel about labels. But I feel like a lot of times the gay community puts more labels on themselves than even the straight community puts on them. And I fought for so long not to have a label put on my head. And now I feel as though so many people are, it's not with identity. Let me be very clear. It is not with identity that the labels bother me. It is labels in general. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but it gets on my nerves because I fought so long not to be labeled as just one specific thing. I'm not a gay man. I am a man.
Right.
I fought long and hard to have that right, or feel like I had that right. That is, I just identify that way. I am a man. Gay comes later. Artist comes later. Right. But first and foremost, I am a man. That's the way I feel. You know what I mean? That's the way I have to explain myself on that one. I understand that everyone else has to have, not everyone else even, people have to feel like they are who they are. But I guess I spent so long feeling like I was not a man that was the label that I fought for. I've never really said that way. So, but that's the way I feel.
I get it. I get it.
You
Because
know?
we've talked about labels before, and especially the whole LGBTQ plus. Um,
Plus.
and yes, with the plus, because it has a whole lot of other titles and labels that go along with it. So, of course, also being a minority myself as a cisgender female that happens to be a Black woman in the South. I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on there.
Can't beat that, can you?
It's a lot of stuff going on. And she happened to marry some white dudes, and now she got big kids. And I mean, it goes on and on. But no matter what our label is, there are some things that go on that we don't quite understand with either of our labels. So with LGBTQ plus, I know that one of the issues that you're struggling with is transgender. And please explain the struggle for you. And I know that it's not that you're not supportive, it's just that
I'm definitely supportive. It's a struggle. It is a struggle. I'm not against being transgender. I know that people are born that way. I also know that some people are born with both body parts. You know what I mean? I have godchildren that at birth they're adopted from China. That's a whole nother episode too. We adopted from China, but one was not given the opportunity to become male or female. They just made him a female. Wow. But he's a male. Like he's identifies as male. So I guess I get that aspect of it more so than anything. I really don't know how to explain what it is, because I've slowly started, understanding it a little bit more because I talk to people about it. That is one thing that I have to talk about, because I'm like, listen, I don't want to say, it's more about me saying the wrong thing,
right,
than it is about me judging what is going on. This day and age, you can say one thing that is just now not socially acceptable, or even, and I'm not meaning it to be anything bad, but right. With I used to, and I know this is horrible of me, but I used to be like, God, they're so sensitive. Why? Why are you so sensitive? And right. I remember, I have to just go look at myself in the mirror, and I have to say, well, you were that sensitive too. You know what I mean? So there is growth in my life, girl. Yeah. I'm not for or against anyone. I just have to learn how to ask the right questions. And I went through a phase where instead of me asking anything at all, I just didn't ask, because I knew what I was going to ask was probably going to hurt someone's feelings. Right. And God knows, how I feel about hurting someone's feelings. I do not like to hurt someone's feelings. And if I hurt someone's feelings, even if it's not, I don't hurt people on purpose. Right. You know what I mean? That is not me. It hurts me so bad if I've hurt someone, and I will spend my life trying to fix it. I will spend my life trying to fix it. But growth, you as a human being have to grow. And being the transgender, I just had a lot of questions, for that specific part of the community. I guess, that's that.
Well, that's great, because it goes back.
I feel like if I want everyone to feel included, but I have to learn how to open that Pandora's box, so to speak, so that everyone feels like I love everyone as it's and sometimes as a human, you close yourself off to anything. So I've just been really working on me to being open with everybody instead of one aspect of just one person.
Well, and that's part of this Tell Us Your Story series, is the fact that a lot of people don't know what to ask or what to say or how to say it. They want to know, but they don't. So, the fact that you're putting yourself out there to ask questions, and obviously it's to other people that you feel safe around, and you don't feel like they're going to take anything the wrong way.
And the thing about
that's
it, I
important
have been in
also.
that den of lions that they took it the wrong way. And I think maybe that's what it was with me having misunderstanding the transgender community.
Okay.
Because there was like, I went to a group meeting one time. I don't really go to any kind of meetings or anything, but they were having a meeting with a lot of transgender men. But see, then again, I don't know if I say women or men. That, verbiage is where I get really confused, people. And I'm honest, and I have to be honest, because all of this verbiage is new to me.
Right.
Is it verbiage or nounage?
Hey, verbiage is fine. We'll roll with it.
Nounage? I don't know. I don't think that's even a word. I know it's not. But
we're
pronounage.
We're in the South. We're in the South. We'll make it a word. Go with it.
But I felt like I was attacked for asking questions.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, well, if you want the world, and I said this after I felt like I was being attacked, and it left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. But I'm like, if you want the world to understand and accept you, you have to be willing to listen to people asking the tough questions so that they can fully understand. And even if they don't understand, they will have at least a better understanding of who it is and what it is you are and you are trying to achieve for you. Right. And be accepting and be caring and know how to handle. I want to take the kid gloves off and handle you as a human being and not feel like I have to walk around you and be yelled at because I asked you a question, when they were asking me a whole lot more questions than I asked them to begin with. So, and I really hope and pray that this does not affect anyone's judgment of me in a negative light. But it's gotten better because now I understand a little bit more, and now I do put my kid gloves on with some people, but most people, I understand where I'm coming from now. But I was a stranger asking questions, right. And I felt like that day, as a gay man, I wasn't accepted into the trans community. And you know what I mean? If we're going to be a community, then we have to be a full community. We can't be divided by the label that we put on ourselves. We have to let that LGBTQ plus label come into play and really understand that it's one big label. Right. Now, it's not 5 or 6 labels separated. It's 5 or 6 labels put together. And if we can put it back together all the way and not exclude not one person, that's my understanding of what it is. And that's my goal. Okay. And that's fair. I know you're reaching for a proof. That makes sense. It makes sense. It makes total sense. It really does. And that kind of goes into the mental health, the physical health, and spiritual health. So how has that journey been for you? That is a loaded question, girl. I know, because you had a gun in my pocket, it would have went off. Because I know you have gone through so much. I mean, I've been there with you through some of it, and I can't even imagine some of the things that you've done. And I told you to turn your phone off, but I thought I did. Buttons. I don't know how to use buttons. Hey, that's why we're. Well, I think I'm in a really good place spiritually now. I'm able to communicate with God, and I'm able to really let myself just be free to communicate with the world, which also helps your spirituality. You know what I mean? Like you can't please everybody. That's a big one for me because I am a people pleaser. But I found out that if I don't please myself and make myself happy first, like the struggle gets way worse, people. Way worse when you're trying to please everybody and you are not happy yourself, because then you get ticked off at the person that you've made happy because you're still not happy. And that is a never ending circle of defeat that you put on yourself. The world does not put that on you. You put that on yourself. And that is the biggest thing that I've gotten from life. You've got to be happy first. And then everybody else will be happy too. If, the more people see you happy, happiness is contagious. You know what I mean? It may not seem like it is on the day you're trying to make somebody happy and they're not happy, but I promise you, they will come around.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to tell people that I am a believer in God and that I believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I believe that Jesus Christ was sent here to be my personal Lord and Savior. I also believe that I am saved, and it is good news that I feel that way. It was a long time coming. I can't let man dictate my spirituality and my spiritual future. I can't. Man cannot be involved in that. That is between me and God.
Right. That is true.
As far as the place that I'm in, I am a happily married man. Happily married. And if it wasn't for Todd, I don't think that I would be even close to where I am when it comes to being okay with who I am. So he's really helped me out a lot. It's been almost 10 years. So 10 years ago, I was not in this place. I will tell you now, I was at rock bottom. I was doing things that we can get into at a later date. And I'm willing to talk about anything with you. I am. So we can come up with all kinds of, what do we want to talk about now? Right. I feel like, the place that I'm in is a forgiving place. I have to forgive. I've been forgiving myself for a lot of stuff that I did to myself. And I've been forgiving a lot of other people, but not for them, for me.
There you go. That's it. Yeah. That helps with the mental health. But it's a whole process to get there. And, I wanted to really bring that up because I was looking at a study that the Trevor Project did. They did it this year in 2021, and the National Survey on LGBTQ youth mental health. And 42% of their sample size seriously considered attempting suicide in this year.
Yeah, I know.
And I know it's shocking and it's so sad, but, and it stems from the politics that affects the community, the mental health issues that are already compounded with COVID restrictions and not being able to be around everybody, the social media always having, that negative influence on, the people that they need to be or that they should be, being subjected to conversion therapy. I'm still, people, why are we still doing conversion therapy? And these are just some of the possible causes, just several. These are some of the reasons I really feel like it is important to discuss the full wholeness of an individual. So that way they can be mentally, spiritually, and physically together. Because if something's missing in there, we need to help that individual, no matter what. And, I see you tearing up. And I know that's close to your heart. You want to kind of explain or not?
I'll explain, but just please forgive the tears. The amount of times, I was hospitalized twice because I just wanted to die. I didn't want to live. I didn't feel like I was worthy to live. I didn't feel like I lived, even with the you're going to go to hell thing all the time, it was like beat into my mind. And I was like, well, if I'm going to go there, I may as well just go now. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in living any kind of life if you're just going to end up burning in a sea of fire? You just get beat down so much by what people say that you just don't feel like even you can't hear the people that love you anymore. You can't hear them because it's It's something that I don't know why that happens. I don't know how that happens, but you get so much negative that the people that really love you, you can't even hear their voice. And then you realize, I mean, after I went through all of that, I realized that I would have devastated the people that really loved me. And that hurts me so bad that I would even, that the life was so sucked out of me at one point in time that I couldn't see the people that loved me and that really cared, that I couldn't see you even. I couldn't find you. So it hurts me to think that somebody else in this world is having to go through that, and that people, it hurts me to think that there are people out there that would rather take their own lives than show the world who that they are. And if I could be a voice for anyone or be a voice of change for anyone, please reach out to me. Let me know. I'll talk to you all day long. I don't care.
That he will. That he totally will. And to give you a minute to get yourself back together and get myself back together. Thanks, Lanny. But you're right. I mean, with mental health, we do get bogged down in our own feelings and we forget about those who love us. And that was a very important part. And you're right. If something would have happened, we would have been devastated, completely devastated.
And then you leave the people that love you having to hold on to you from a memory of you, and that's not good. So I urge everyone that's hearing this, please, if that is even an option or a thought in your mind, please reach out. Please reach out to anyone that you love, that loves you. Let them hold you through it while, like, physically. Mentally is when you have a mental breakdown because of who you are, that is not you. That is what society or someone else has put on you. And it's not your responsibility as a human being to carry somebody else's baggage. It's your responsibility to carry what you do and your baggage and who you are. That is your own, that is yours to carry. But it is not your responsibility to carry someone else's hatred for themselves and the world and everybody around them. That is not your responsibility. So if we can help you get to the place where you know that all the way, that is one thing that I would be more than happy to do. Or set you on a path to finding someone who will help and who can help you more than I can. I can be a friend. I am not a doctor. But I am a friend.
It's a married one.
Married. Yes.
He's definitely a friend. And definitely, if you want to reach out, please let me know and I will put you in contact.
Girl, you got me fine.
I mean, I didn't mean to pull like a Barbara Walters or Oprah on it or nothing. I really didn't. And, kind of lighten things up just a little bit to kind of show how life kind of goes full circle. Many years ago, when I won a local title.
Yes, Miss Camden in the house.
And so Lanny came over and he just wanted to see the crown. He wanted to see the crown. He wanted to be the crown. He wanted to wear the crown. So we were going through some of my clothes and he's like, "Oh, I love this shirt." So
that gold hooded shirt.
He puts on my gold shirt and he has on my clear heels for competition, and he puts my crown on and he's walking up and down the hallway of my house, and my mom is looking like, okay, what is this about? When did this happen? He was like, "I just wanted to wear it.
I needed that crown on my head."
So we took pictures with him wearing the crown in my shirt. I didn't get the full body so you can see the shoes too, but it was absolutely fabulous.
I still have that picture somewhere. I was going through some stuff not too long ago. I was like, oh, yes.
Yes.
You know, when that finger gets going, something's got to happen. Whoa.
So Lanny has always been just a ball of love and laughter, and we've always accepted him. My mom was his teacher.
My favorite teacher, and that is, to God's honest truth, I have never had a teacher before her or since her that has just put it to me straight.
And he's told me on occasion I act just like my mama. So
Scout's honor. I wasn't a scout though, so maybe I shouldn't do that.
You wanted to be a scout, so you know. But what advice, besides what we've already talked about, you know, and besides the norm advice that anybody would hear, what would you give other men that are finding themselves in similar situations as you, when it refers to embracing your self-awareness?
Don't give up. Everybody says that. Everybody says, you know, be who you are. I'm going to say be who you are, but also be who you want to be. Mm-hmm. Don't change your path because somebody else is trying to knock you off of it. Keep on your same path. Cry a lot. Let it out. Don't hold it in. Laugh a lot. Find people who love you a lot because they're out there. There's so many things I can say on that one. You know what I mean? But I think first and foremost, just be honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. Be honest with yourself and be honest with people. And you'll find out, you'll be able to weed out the people that hate you or hate who you are or hate the things about you a lot faster if you're honest. You know what I mean? All it takes is one person being negative to you to know to jump off of that train, get on another one.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
now,
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
So what would you like to tell lawmakers about being in a marginalized group and what they can do to better assist your community?
First off, that is a lot. That's a big question, girl. Oh, wow. I've never been asked a question like that and that is like an umbrella of all kinds of answers and thoughts. It's thought provoking, that question. So like, I think that change is happening, though it's happening very slowly. Change is happening. Lawmakers, please stop trying to go backwards. You put things in front of us that allowed. I'm a married man. I finally feel like an American citizen. I have the rights of every human being. I get tax breaks because I'm married, or this, that, and the. You know, there are things that needed to happen that are happening. But there are things that are happening right now that are trying to push all of that away, push that back, and stop going backwards, lawmakers. Please stop going backwards. We do not need to go back to the 1950s. We need to stay in 2021, 2022, and keep moving forward. If we go backwards, I believe that civil war will happen. I hate to say that out loud, but if you don't stop the madness, you don't stop the madness, madness ensues.
Oh, and we will leave that right there. That was a great closing statement, definitely. So now we're going to move on to getting closer to the end of this conversation and to the most humanizing questions. They're about music.
Okay, here we go. Let's do it.
So what, and I forgot, you could even sing the song. What is your favorite song that represents you?
Oh, because there are many sides of Lanny. Can I pick more than one?
Of course. Anything.
Okay, so
deal. Uh-oh. I need to put myself back on screen.
For those moments, like when I was like struggling with stuff and coming to like Wrecking Ball was my like jam. I was like, I came in like a wrecking ball because I had to knock some stuff down to be, you know what I mean? And I know that song can be, you know, I mean, you can interpret things how you want to interpret them. Miley interpreted it her way, but those lyrics, I interpreted like, you know what? I got to knock some stuff down if I'm going to rebuild. So that was a big one. Like, I mean, I would sing that song every morning and I would go out of the house and it would be freaking fantastic. It would be. Lord, so many. Right now, my song is Glitter in the Air by Pink, my big song.
Okay.
Glitter in the Air. Because it asks a bunch of have you ever questions. Yeah. And some of them I have, but a lot of them I haven't. I have, however, thrown glitter in the air. That's one thing I really have done on many occasions. It makes you feel so good.
Throw it up there.
You know, it's, you know, go listen to the song, people. It asks a bunch of questions about have you ever's, and then like right now I'm just working on doing all those have you ever's, and I've you know, I write a list now to challenge myself to do have you ever things. Have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? And it really kind of opens you up when you start writing have you ever questions to yourself.
Right.
Then you can go back and actually do some of the things, and you, I mean, it's not a list that you have to do everything on, but it's a list that you can look at and be like, okay, I have done that.
Right.
And how did that make you feel? You know, have you ever kissed someone in the rain? Have you ever ran in the rain or jumped in a mud puddle? I mean, stupid stuff like that.
Right. You
know, or big stuff like, have you ever waited for someone that was struggling because you wanted to be the one waiting for them in the end? You know what I mean? You could do a whole lot of have you ever's. And, you know, the only person right now that can say that well, I mean, y'all have all waited on me. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of people that were waiting on me to get over that rainbow. I'm almost there.
Okay. So that's some good song choices right there. So final question. What song do you believe best represents Southern gay men?
Oh Lord, We Are Family, probably. That's the one. That's like a Southern gay man's anthem. Or Dancing Queen by ABBA. You know, like, who knows? Like, you know, there's two good ones right there. That gets played at everything I've been to. I'm like,
okay.
Why not?
I like it. It's good.
I Will Survive. They, you know, there's three. They play that every time we go to the
There you go. You have three.
My gay anthem is Xanadu.
Xanadu.
My Olivia Newton-John. Yes, I want to put on my roller skates right now and go in the driveway and play Xanadu and freak my neighbors out, because that's the thing I do. They're like, "What is he doing now? Does he have roller skates on in his driveway?"
Well, I'll bring mine. He does. I will bring mine over and we can roller skate together. Lanny Spires Ingalls, thank you so much for your time and telling us your story. And to all of you, thank you for watching. Take care, and may there be peace, love, understanding, and social justice for all.
All day. Mm.